Hello, 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 hello. What it do? What it do, Nikas? What it do? So, long day, guys. But I'm committed. I am committed, and I'm here. I dressed up for you, guys. My nails look so good long. They were long, but last night I scratched myself in my sleep. I felt it. I woke myself up. So I made them short today, and I went on a job site and painted, so they kind of got jacked up, but after I eat I will touch them up again. So I hope you guys are doing well, and thank you for tuning in. And I'm going to make a guiso de calabacita. Okay, so I don't know what a guiso is in English, but this is a calabacita verde, and I'm making a guiso, and that's what you're gonna see me do today. So this was my mom's, like, one of her like best things that she made, like this guiso thing. But the original recipe has sour cream, and with real sour cream, not like the sour cream here in the US, that white one from the store. Like the real creamy sour cream is even better. But you guys know that I am working on this out here, and so I cannot do the sour cream because I'm not doing any lactose except my probiotics with the kefir. This is the only thing that I'm taking that's lactose. So it's a calabacita, and you need very few things. My recipes are not complicated, but if you try them and you make them, you will be surprised on how tasty they are. They're so good, but I make it simple. My mom cooked better than anybody I know, but she had a lot of steps and ingredients and timing and all that love she put in the food. You could taste it. A few years back, her and my dad decided about 10 years ago that I'm practical, because it was always a struggle. Like, no, just do it like this, chop, 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 quick. And then I'm missing 10 steps of how she does it. And then one day they made my day. Somehow we were talking about something, and they decided that I was practical. And I loved it. I'm practical. I'm just, it was like, whatever. They told me I was practical, and it was like they gave me an award, because that's how much of a mama's and daddy's girl I was. Like, if they told me something like, like whatever, just a correction, like, oh, that pearl is too long, it's just too long, it would like break my heart. But if they told me that pearl is just right, it was like, oh, stars and rainbows. Cool, 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 cool. But that's how I was, that's how I was. It looks cuter this way. Okay, so I'll show you guys what I got going. I'm starving and no protein, but that's okay. I had chicken, I had asparagus soup today, and on my way home, I picked up a Yuki's from my niece. I'm not really hungry today. I took my 4th shot, so it's it's the first few days, the first like 5 days, 6 days, it works really good. The last day you're like starting to want a little extra. So I'm good with just having this calabacitas and this guiso, and this is probably too much for one serving, but I would probably finish it by tomorrow. So I will show you guys what you need. Okay, what you need is simple. The good old kefir instead of the sour cream, your calabacitas chopped up, tomatoes, any type of tomato, Roma tomato, round tomato, little tomato, big tomato. If the tomato's red, it's a tomato. I don't understand they use this type of tomato, that kind of tomato thing. it's not for me. I don't know what it means. I don't know. Okay, so let me get a little further out so you guys can see. I'm going to tell you what happened. I left to work down south. I went to Miami, and I left my thing that holds my phone, the tray. I left it in my car. And when I got home and I took my shoes off and I started getting ready to make my meal, I didn't want to go to the car. So I saran wrapped my phone around the halo thingy, the light thingy. I MacGyver that phone, and it's up and running, and I'm putting in the time for you guys. I'm putting in the time for you, only you. Okay. So, this is one of the best things that my mom taught my sisters and I how to make. Where do I go? I go here so you can see what I'm doing. Great. Because I love this. And this quesito, you can make it with potatoes. Like if you boil potatoes and chop them up once they're soft to this, you can do the same thing to potatoes, and it's so yummy. Gosh, I'm trying to show you guys how to do it, and I'm like way off because of what happened with my phone thingy. So yeah, so here we go. So just make little rectangles, squares, whatever you can make. And I also bought these tomatoes at Victoria's. It was a whole box. Like this whole box was $1, and I put it in the fridge, in the coldest part of the fridge, so they can last me. They can last me a lot. So the tomato, you just, tomatoes for this recipe, it doesn't matter what shape you cut them as long as you get them cut. Okay? So once you have, that's it. That's all you need. You're going to need this, salt, pepper, olive oil. That's it. That's what you will need to make this happen. So I'm heating up the pan, and I just want you guys to know that while I was chopping that, I was also melting my pan away on the side. Not my pan, melting my chopping board away. You see? Melting the chopping board away. Oh my God. The other day I almost burnt the plastic spatula round thing. Yeah. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to add, again, the oil looks like I add a lot of oil because of the camera, but I don't. I don't like oily food, and I don't add a lot of it at all. This video is a little discombobulated, but trust me, the recipe's worth knowing. So, just add a little bit of oil in there. And the first thing you will do is you're going to saute your tomatoes. Your tomatoes have to be cooked down. Cook them down. It's so noisy. And I haven't invested the time into figuring out which microphone is a good microphone. But pretty soon I'll get that going. It's a lot, but I'm getting there, and I'm enjoying it, and that's what matters, that you enjoy what you're doing, this necklace, I dressed up for you guys for this video. I wore like a white t-shirt and a sweater on top because I went down south to paint the wall. But this little necklace actually used to belong to the little girl that's having the birthday gathering tonight, Mia. And my mom used to take care of all these kids. They were her great grandkids. And it was like one of those little girl sets with jewelry. I don't know who gave it to her. And I took it from her. I took this from her. And I took a little crown, a little like yellow crown of a little doll that I put on Oyuki sometimes. But you know, she was too little, number one, to have these little fake pearls, and number two, every other little necklace that she had was always like broken, and I was like, I'm not gonna let that happen to those little pearls. So I took the little pearls from the little girl. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. Look at this. I mean, I'll take a picture of how I MacGyver this phone so you guys can see everything that I do to make things happen out here. Okay, so tomato, looking good, looking good. I am going to now add the salt. I'm going to put the spoon here just in case I put too much. I can always take it out, you know. Great job, great job. And that's that. So you add the salt to the tomato. The tomato, you know, breaks down so quickly. That's the tomato. And now you add your calabacitas. Calabacitas. Go in there. And then you bring the heat to medium-high. A medium-high, because calabacitas, even though they're very tender, they don't cook too quickly, and you want them to cook through. So this is what you do for now. I need to get a cover for this pot because I don't have a cover for it. I need to pull one out. I have a cover and I need to pull it out. Come out, wherever you are, pot cover. I hope this was the one that fits for this. Yay, bingo, bingo, bingo. I want to start buying smaller little pots because, you know, I cook in smaller little amounts. So I want to start buying smaller little pots to share with you guys the videos. But for now, I'm doing with what I have. And then I had that tragedy this week that you will see when I release the video of the rose water. My one glass pot, okay, blew up on live, honey. I was recording a video for you guys and it blew up. So my first social media video production tragedy. But okay, so this guisito is delicious. I love it, and you will too once you try it. You know, I talk a lot about my mom. You know, guys, I adored her. I was so like, she's mine, she's mine, she's mine. You know, like that little cartoon that I feel like, you know, that I can't think of him, Family Guy. That, you know, I must have been like that kind of a kid. Mommy, mom, 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 mommy, mommy, mom, mom. I swear, I remember, maybe I have memories of mom, mom, mommy, mommy. You know, I think I was exactly like that little cartoon, Stewie, you know, when he does that skit, for sure. I'm sure. You know, when I first came to the U.S., I'm going to tell you guys want to know how I got here? Oh my God, you guys want to know how I got here? Oh, guys, did you guys know the song Camelia La Tejana? Camelia La Tejana. Well, Camelia La Tejana was the one that got me here. I got here to the U.S. with Camelia. Let me tell you how it was. This is how, like, I want to give you, like, when we're at the border, okay? Because the tragedy coming through, it was crazy. I had, you know, coming through, I had already lived a war with bombs and missiles and dead people and rifles. and missing heads and arms and limbs everywhere, you know, and walking around with a stick and a white piece of rag from a sheet in the bed, living in a home with no light in the middle of the boondocks, where all the freaking nights it was bombarding and bombarding. I mean, that was already insane, okay? Getting through all of the other countries, getting through Mexico. I lived in Mexico City on my way here, as a matter of fact. I didn't go by it. We got stuck and we had to live there. And then we get to Piedras Negras, right? Piedras Negras is like where you cross. And my uncle knew this lady. I don't know where he had met the lady. He was going to this church, and he was going to this church, and the lady from the church introduced him to this lady, Camelia La Tejana, and she was beautiful. She was Camelia La Tejana. She was young. She must have been like in her late 20s, early 30s. She had a little daughter about my age. I was about 8 years old, and she came to Piedras Negras, and we were staying at this hotel. So it was my mom, myself, my sister, it's a little bit older than me, and my oldest sister. And then somehow we ended up bringing along this girl named Candida, some girl, okay? And her brother was Julio Maletas, but we met her brother later on. And like I have you know, recollection of these things. Like Julio Maletas was her brother, and we met him here in Florida like years later. And I don't know why they called him Julio Maletas. I think he was always doing like maletas. He was always like packing. He was always buying stuff and packing stuff in suitcases. Anyway, so I don't remember the guy's name. I know her name was Candida. Candy something. So it was, you know, my three sisters, my mother, and this younger girl. Like she probably was like in her early 20s, like my oldest sister was. And we made it to Piedras Negras, right? And we stayed at this hotel in Piedras Negras. And Piedras Negras was something else, because I could tell my mom wasn't so much at ease. Like when we lived in El DF, like Mexico City, DF, that's where we lived. And I could tell my mom wasn't at ease, you know, that we were there in this town. And then Camelia La Tejana came one day to meet us, and she was the sweetest thing, because she came and we were like at this park, and then we were on the bench of the park, and she came and approached us, and you know, told my mom, I'm Camelia La Tejana, I'm the one that's gonna get you across, you know. And my mom was like, great, you know. And she bought my sister and I popsicles. She had like a little daughter, and she bought my mother something, I forget, but she was talking to my mom. She bought us popsicle, and we were with her little daughter. So that day happened, and it was set. Camelia La Tejana was going to get us through. So like 2 days went by, and she came to get us. She came to get my sister Mayra, my other sister, that's a little bit older than me, and me. She had a Monte Carlo, okay? I mean, when I tell you she was Camelia La Tejana, she was Camelia La Tejana. She had the nicest Monte Carlo ever. Like, I was like in love with Monte Carlos because of this lady my whole life. I want to have a Monte Carlos. I love Monte Carlos. So she picked us up, and she put my oldest sister in the passenger seat, and then she put the two of us, the younger ones, in the back seat with her daughter. And she's like, when we get to the bridge to cross, to see the immigration officer, you are going to say hi. And my sister in the front was going to say hello. First of all, we don't even know what hi means. We don't know what hello means, honey, but we knew hi, and my sister and I, we knew hi, and my other sister knew hello, and that's what we were going to say. So, Camelia La Tejana had explained that this guy that she was crossing us, he wanted to date her. He wanted, to go para el baile con ella. And you know how those Tejanos are. They go to the bailes all the time. So, we were like, great. We didn't know. We had no idea. We don't know. Whatever Camelia La Tejana says to do, we're doing. This is daytime, okay? This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a beautiful sunny day. We left Piedras Negras, and I was so sad to leave my mom. Okay, so sad. But my mom was like, no te preocupes, mi muchachita. I'm going to be there tomorrow, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to come, right? So I was like, okay, my mommy's coming, And I had no choice. Like, I wanted her to stay there with her, but she chose to send us, first. So we get there, and Camelia goes up to the guy, and it was a handsome, what do they call those policías at the crossing? They call them what? I don't know. La migra. I don't know. But they have a name. They have a name. The oficial is right there. And, he was a handsome one. Camelia was the prettiest thing you've ever seen, too. I mean, era una mujer de corazón, like the song says. I mean, oh, my God. And then she starts talking to him. Her window goes down. She was such a coquetita. She was such a coquette. And she's like, blah, 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 with her arm on the car. And, ay, que no sé qué, que aquí, que allá, talking to him. And we have no idea what she's saying because we don't understand any English at all. So when she says blah, 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 he points to my sister. My sister's like, hello. And then blah, blah, blah. And the guy looked in the back of us in the car, and we're like, hi, So, cha, 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 y nos salimos. And we crossed the border in a car with Camelia. And let me tell you something. My little heart was, I knew, like, I'm sad because my mom is over there, but we got through. So, my poor mamita, she must have been like, oh my God, there's no cell phones, it's none of that. None of that happening out there. My calabacitas are moving along. Let me show you guys. Hold on. Let me show you guys. Because I don't have my tripod. I have to move like the whole thing. See, this is what you're looking for. You want them to cook. Get suavecitas. I start looking at the calabacitas and I move the camera to the other side. So, okay, so we crossed and she took us to, we drove from, we crossed Piedras Negras, we're in Texas, and she took us to a Motel 6. She got us a room at the Motel 6, my oldest sister and the two of us, the younger sisters. And she gave my oldest sister like $20, like one bill, like a $20. I don't think it was a 50. I think it was a 20. If I remember correctly, it was a 20. And she said, you girls are going to stay in here. And she showed my sister where the little store was. The Motel 6 had like a little convenience store. She got us to the best Motel 6 because it had had a little convenience store, a real convenience store with all the little food and juices and cookies. And let me tell you something. This is something that we laugh about. We had a black and white TV, okay, where we were coming from. We had a black and white TV. We had a stereo. We had a roof, we had tile, we had running water, we had a toilet, we had a maid, we had a business, we had meat every day when the rest of the population had no idea what meat was for years. We had oil, we had sugar. We lived well. but we did not have a color TV. Color TV was at the movies, at the cine, you know. So we get to the we get to the we get to the Motel 6, and she leaves. And before, you know, I think she showed my oldest sister about the TV. I don't know how it was, but I've never had a remote control before in my life, right? And so we grabbed the remote. Oh, I think she showed her what Univision. C-I-N, Sin. In Texas, the Univision brand was S-I-N. So she showed my sister where the S-I-N channel was, which was Univision. And she went, no, Univision is here, and she clicked. So as soon as she left, the first thing we did, you know, the two young girls, we went to grab the remote. And not to be mean, but I've always been a little more exploratory than my other sister. So of course I'm the one with the remote, and I'm the one trying to figure out. And then my oldest sister said, no, she said to push here. And then she showed me. And then I started clicking that remote, like, you know, I'm clicking, like changing the channels, and it was in color. And I started, well, we both started jumping in the bed, like, like a remote in the TV. It was a phenomenon, okay? Like, never seen this before. I mean, I didn't even know a remote control existed, okay? Hands down. I mean, my TV had knobs, 2 knobs, and you had to go over there, and then it had antennas, and then it was a communist country, and they only played the news and some other crap in the morning, and then no TV, and then at 2 to 4, 3 little socialist cartoons. Felix the Cat was one of the cartoons we used to watch. And then at night, novelas, the news and some novelas. So it wasn't like channel after channel, darling. It was like one channel, and you watch what they told you to watch, and that's it. And so, you know, you're clicking, and it's so exciting. So then my sister says, hey, let's go get something to eat. Let me tell you something. We went into that store, and guess what they had? They had chocolitas. Chocolitas, honey, in a box. You know the little milk that they give you in school? The carton milk? They had chocolate milk. And over there, where we come from, the chocolate milk, the chocolita, it's in a bag. So you buy like the bag, and then you cut it, and then you drink, you suck your chocolita with a straw, or, you know, whatever. But now it's this chocolita world, and it's like strawberry chocolitas, regular chocolate chocolitas. Anyways, it was so much fun, and my oldest sister let us grab whatever we wanted from that store, and we went and watched, you know what we watched that night? I remember it like it was yesterday. We watched, was it El Pecado de Nacer? I think it was El Pecado de Nacer, and it was Victoria Rufo and Humberto Zurita and La Mama Dolores, and I don't know if it was Albertico Limonta is the name of the character in the novela. And I think it's El Pecado de Nacer, the name. But I remember we watched it in color because we had heard it through, you know, when I was a lot younger, we used to hear it on the radio because they would narrate it, that story, El Pecado de Nacer, they would narrate it on the radio. And then we were watching it, you know, we were watching it when we left, and it took us so long to get to the United States that, you know, it was playing there, you know, on Univision. Man, that was a great day to cross. But let me tell you, when we went to bed at night, we were sad. We were like, once the excitement of the remote, the Motel 6, the 2 beds, the bathroom, the whole experience. I've never been to a motel before in my life, a hotel. If we ever traveled when we were kids, and we would go like somewhere to a beach, to a travel destination, we would like lodge at a house, you know? You don't lodge at a hotel. And plus, the hotels were bombarded, and you know, El Intercontinental, which was a big hotel over there, wasn't even a thing when we came, because it was the war had passed and it was awful. I got to stay there later. It's the Intercontinental, like at Miami, yeah. So I'm not gonna bash it, but you know, it's just a hotel. But yeah, so we were sad though, you know, because we left our mom there. And then the very next day, my dad came to, no, Camelia La Tejana came back. She came back the next day, and we got in the car with her. No, she said that she was going to try to get my mom in that afternoon. But the guy, what happened was that the guy that she knew wasn't there anymore. Okay, and the guy that she was being a coquette with wasn't there in the line anymore. And so she couldn't bring my mom through. And we got stuck out of gas, man. Stuck out of gas. And my mom got left in Piedras Negras. I don't remember the timeline, but it wasn't days. It was a little bit. She got stuck there a little bit with Candida. And I was so devastated and desperate. And at the same time, I didn't understand, like, how serious this was, because, you know, people lose their loved ones there. People lose their loved ones. I'm turning it off because it's almost done. My dad picked us, Camelia La Tejana drove us to San Antonio from where we were. And she drove us to San Antonio, and we made it to San Antonio. And then from San Antonio, we drove to Austin. And then before going home, my dad took us to the HEB, okay? And girl, I walked into that HEB, and I was coming from a country that had just gone through a massive civil war, where the supermarkets were emptied. Like, if there was some things on the shelves, you had to go in a line to get eggs, like with a little card, and they would stamp your stupid card and give you like 2 eggs per person. Who, for a month? Like, who's gonna survive on 2 eggs per person for a month? I mean, it was madness. And I'll share that previous madness before that new beginning of crossing through Piedras Negras some other time. But you know, walking into that HEB, honey, HEB, I mean, strawberries, apples, grapes. I remember I put apples in the car, grapes, strawberries in the car, okay? And when we got through the aisle of where they have the colitas and the peines, like the hair stuff, I grabbed a pack of the goody combs, okay? A pack of like all the different little goody, the goody combs. Man, what a day. What a day. Yeah, I remember that. And so, you know, it took my mom a while to get there. I was suffering, because then we ended up going to where we were going to live. And my mom wasn't there. But she came later, but she wasn't as lucky as we were. She couldn't go through with Camelia La Tejana. She had to, you know, she had to go through the river. But my mom was a very good river swimmer, because where she comes from is mountains and rivers. And when I was a little girl, she taught me how to swim in the rivers. And so, you know, she was lucky that she could swim through the river and got here. A lot of people don't make it, because a lot of people don't know how to swim. So they rely on like the little rope or the guy that's bringing you through, whatever, however, you know, but it's a struggle. But, you know, we didn't know the law too much. We could have applied for political asylum, but we didn't know, you know, that. Because that's what we were. My mom had been arrested by the government because they caught her with 20 pounds of meat. Because, you know, my mom had dough, and she hustled and she worked, and she could go get the meat. She had the money, she had dollars to buy meat. And then somebody snitched on her and they took all her meat, like coming from the place where they give you like a little pound of meat, like, you know, but she would like give them dollars, and she would come like with these buckets and with 20 pounds of meat. They caught her with that, and so they arrested her. And then, you know, they were harassing us, and we didn't belong to any political party, and we didn't belong to any religious party. We were not Catholics, and we were not Christians. We actually became Christians here in Florida, but we believed in God, and we believed in Jesus, and we listened to the mass on the radio, and, you know, we believed, but we were not like, we didn't belong to anything. We were not those kind of people like that, you know. We didn't congregate, and we were not political either. So we were in a bad position because, you know, the Catholics didn't like us, and the Sandinistas didn't like us. And my cousin married the Sandinista girl, and we had to pretend, like, my mom was like, when they come around, you know, just like whatever they say, just go along with it. We had to pretend that we were all about it, because if you didn't pretend, you didn't have to pretend. We just had to be quiet and not have an opinion, because if you had an opinion, they would kill your ass. You were shot, you were gone, and you were dead, honey. So, you know, yeah, but yeah, that's how I came here. So let me show you guys how you finish this guisito. One of the best things I learned from my mother. Oh, I reached my maximum video capacity. Oh my goodness, let me get going. So once it's done, I turned it off. You were supposed to add the sour cream at this point. You can add your sour cream. I add my kefir because that's what I got going, and that's what I'm using. And that's it. And then put some pepper on it. Make sure you put some of that black pepper on it. Do not serve it without the black pepper. It's so good. My boo loves it when I make this. Make it for your boo, honey. He's gonna give you a 5-star rating, okay? This is like a hit. If you make this for your boo or your kids, it's a hit. It really is a hit. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for allowing me to share, actually. And thank you for watching. Bye.